after the breakup, everyone thought I was so heartbroken because when the news came out, I was at a basketball game, and they caught me looking like this. Look, I was just chilling, but the internet decided that that was me being sad. Luckily for me, if you Google sad Michael Jordan, the first 8,000 results are this.
Michael B. Jordan broke up with me all because of Chadwick Boseman. That is why Michael is still unmarried at 39. When he won the Oscar for Best Actor, I sent him my congratulations, but he did not reply.
Michael B. Jordan is the name buzzing everywhere right now, and things just got real interesting. He just secured an Oscar for Best Actor for a role where he played twins, and honestly, he delivered in a big way. The performance hit hard, sharp, emotional, and had people fully locked in from the first scene to the last. Some viewers were completely sold, praising every layer he brought, while others had mixed reactions and weren't fully convinced by the film overall. Still, no matter which side people landed on, the conversation has been loud and non-stop. But this isn't even just about the movie like that, it's about Michael B. Jordan himself, and how his whole life seems to have shifted gears since things ended with Lori Harvey. Something clearly changed, and people can't stop pointing it out. His career feels different now, his energy stronger, his presence way more commanding than before. It's like everything started lining up right after that chapter closed, and the timing has folks raising eyebrows. People still remember that courtside moment too. Right after the breakup, he was sitting there at the game with cameras locked on him, and his face was saying more than words ever could. Some people said he looked hurt, like he was still processing everything that went down. Others noticed how he kept nodding, smiling, trying to stay cool for the cameras, almost like he was hiding what he really felt inside. And yeah, people were talking, saying he probably did feel something about how it all ended, and that's real. That clip stuck with people because it didn't look random at all. It looked like the exact moment things started to change for him in a big way. Every time that breakup gets mentioned, people go right back to that courtside moment. It's like that exact second became the turning point for him. The way he sat there, all eyes on him, it almost felt like something clicked in real time. From that point on, it looked like he locked in and decided to level up for real. He started pouring all his focus into his craft, sharpening his skills, and becoming the strongest actor he could be. His moves started looking more calculated too. He kept his personal life low-key, stopped putting everything out there, and let his work do all the talking. That shift didn't go unnoticed either. People picked up on how different he was moving, like he had a new mindset and wasn't playing around anymore. There's also been talk that maybe Lori wanted things to be more public back then, and that might have caused some tension behind the scenes. Some are even saying that made what she had with Michael feel more real compared to what people are seeing now with Damson Idris. Because if you caught that recent balcony clip, it definitely had people talking. They were out there in full view, making everything very visible, almost like it was meant to be seen. And that got folks questioning if that's how most couples really move, or if something else was going on. Even when Lori was with Michael, you didn't really see moments like that being put on display so openly. That's why when Summer spoke on the situation, saying it feels more staged, it added even more heat to the conversation. People also brought up how Lori replied in the comments about leaving a good man to find a husband, even though she hasn't taken that step yet. That just made everything louder. She has the ring, but no wedding yet, and people are definitely paying attention to that detail. Lori Harvey even stepped into the comment section and agreed with that whole idea, basically saying, "Yeah, that's how it goes," or something close to that. That response had people talking even more, because it gave a small but clear peek into where her mindset might be right now. A lot of folks had already seen the clip and shared their opinions, but her jumping in like that just added another layer to the conversation. Then, there's that moment involving Steve Harvey that really got attention too. When he spotted Michael B. Jordan at a Lakers game, he greeted him like it was nothing unusual. No tension, no drama, just two people who knew each other showing simple respect. But apparently, Lori wasn't feeling that at all. There's talk that she addressed Steve about it afterward, making it clear she didn't want that kind of interaction happening again, and that caught a lot of people off guard. Steve Harvey comes across as someone who isn't going to ignore a person he had a solid connection with, especially since he and Michael built mutual respect during that relationship. The moment itself didn't look awkward or messy, it looked calm and mature. But the reaction that followed made it seem way deeper than it probably needed to be. What's really making people raise their eyebrows is how different this situation feels compared to a typical breakup. Some are saying if it were anyone else, it wouldn't even be a big deal. But here, there's this quiet pressure that seems to be building, like there's something to prove. The idea of showing she's moved on and leveled up keeps coming up, but not everyone watching from the outside is fully convinced that message is landing the way it was intended. That whole balcony moment with Damson Idris didn't really land the way it was probably meant to for a lot of people watching. Instead of feeling natural, it came off a bit awkward, like it was trying too hard to make a statement instead of just being real. The energy felt off, and people caught onto that almost instantly. Some are even saying Lori hasn't fully adjusted to how much things have shifted over time. Back when she was with Michael B. Jordan, that's when people really stamped her as the IT girl, and everything she did had eyes on it. But after that relationship ended, the spotlight didn't stick the same way, and now the reactions don't come as automatically as they used to. Meanwhile, Michael B. Jordan went in a completely different direction. He stayed locked in on his craft, kept things focused, and now he's standing on that stage holding an Oscar, and that speaks loud without him needing to say a word. That kind of moment shows a serious shift, putting energy into building something solid and long-lasting instead of chasing attention or trying to prove anything. On the other side, people feel like Lori is still making very public moves that come across more like performances than genuine moments. There's this sense that she's trying to stay part of the conversation, but the reaction just isn't hitting the same anymore. Folks are watching, but the energy feels different now, and that contrast is hard to ignore. And that contrast is exactly why so many people keep making comparisons. Where both of them are right now, everything people are seeing, it's just not landing the way some expected. It doesn't fully come across as real success to a lot of viewers, and when something feels off, that's when all the extra moves start to stand out even more. The public moments, the perfectly timed appearances, the way everything lines up, it starts to feel less natural and more like a strategy playing out in real time. People are picking up on that pattern quickly, and they're not ignoring it. There's even talk that Damson Idris is getting pulled into a situation that might not fully work in his favor. Imagine being part of something that looks perfect on the outside, but people keep questioning if it only shows up when attention is needed. That's the kind of conversation floating around, and it's exactly why a lot of folks aren't fully buying what they're seeing. When something doesn't feel genuine, people might talk about it for a second, but then the interest fades just as fast. It turns into one of those topics people joke about for a moment and then move on from, because it doesn't carry real weight. Even content creators touch on it, but not for long. Once something starts to feel staged, there's just not enough depth to keep people locked in and engaged. Now compare that to Michael B. Jordan's path, and it's a completely different story. His timeline shows steady growth, real effort, and years of work being put in behind the scenes. Going all the way back to 1999 through 2002, he was already getting started as a child model and landing early acting roles on shows like The Cosby Show and The Sopranos, building a foundation that didn't rely on hype but on consistent progress. Then from 2002 to 2011, he started stepping into more serious roles, and you could see the shift happening. He played Wallace on HBO's The Wire, showed up on All My Children, and later took on the role of quarterback Vince Howard on Friday Night Lights. That kind of run shows real consistency, not quick attention grabs or random hype. And Friday Night Lights, for anyone who hasn't seen it, is an excellent show. I used to watch it all the time, and even though his time on there wasn't super long, he still stood out as one of the most memorable characters. Now, moving into 2012 to 2015, this is where things really started to change for him. He starred in Chronicle, and that project really pushed him into the movie spotlight. Up until then, he was mainly known for television, but Chronicle got people paying serious attention because it was well received and his performance hit strong. Then, he took on the role of Oscar Grant in Fruitvale Station, and that's when people really saw his range as an actor. That performance wasn't just good, it made people look at him completely differently. From 2015 to 2018, he kept that momentum going in a major way. He led the Creed films starting in 2015, showing he could carry a franchise on his back. At the same time, he stepped into the role of Eric Killmonger in Black Panther, and that character left a huge impact. People still talk about that performance because it brought depth and intensity that stood out in a massive film. Then, from 2019 to 2026, he kept building on that foundation without slowing down. He starred in Just Mercy, took things even further by making his directorial debut with Creed 3, and still led that project in front of the camera, too. That kind of control over his work shows real growth. And by 2025, everything came full circle. He stepped onto that stage and walked away with the Oscar for Best Actor. A lot of people are saying that win was fully earned, no matter who tries to argue it or throw other names into the conversation. His performance really spoke for itself. He was the glue holding that entire movie together, keeping everything tight and locked in from beginning to end. Every scene felt like it leaned on his energy, and he delivered without slipping once. When you look at his career as a whole, it's been one steady climb the entire time. There's never been a moment where he completely dropped off or lost his momentum. Even when he stepped back from the spotlight for a bit, it didn't feel like a setback. It looked calculated. It came across like he was moving quietly behind the scenes, lining things up and getting ready for something bigger. Right before that major role, he wasn't everywhere in the media, and then suddenly he shows up with a performance like that and takes over the conversation instantly. That kind of timing doesn't just happen randomly, it shows intention. He's clearly being selective, choosing the right roles instead of jumping into everything that comes his way. That approach makes a real difference. Staying patient, focusing on quality over quantity, and building carefully, that's how you create a career that actually lasts and earns respect. Now at 39, he's right in that prime zone, still growing, still evolving, and still moving upward without anything seriously slowing him down. Now you're seeing the results of that mindset play out in real time. Bigger roles, major awards, and way more control over how he moves in his career. He's not just acting anymore, he's building something that's meant to last. And the way things are going, it doesn't look like he's slowing down anytime soon. The public reaction now hits completely different, too. It's not just about being popular or trending for a quick moment, it's about real respect across the board. People aren't just watching him anymore, they're studying how he moves, paying attention to every decision and how he navigates everything behind the scenes. That's why moments like winning that Oscar hit so much harder. It's not just about the award itself, it's what it represents. Years of consistency, smart choices, and staying locked in, even when the spotlight wasn't always on him. That kind of recognition doesn't come from chasing noise, it comes from building something solid over time. Meanwhile, people are still making comparisons, whether it's fair or not. One side comes off calm, focused, and strategic, while the other feels more public, more visible, and way more debated. And when those two images sit side by side, people naturally start forming opinions and questioning what feels genuine versus what feels like it's being pushed for attention. At the end of the day, the difference shows in how everything is handled. One approach stays quiet but effective, while the other is loud and constantly under the spotlight, and people are definitely noticing that contrast. But questioned, and right now, it's pretty clear which side is actually producing results people can't ignore. And the wild part is, this doesn't even look like the peak yet. That's what really has people talking. Because when someone is this locked in, this calculated, and still stacking wins, you already know there's more on the way. He's not moving like someone who already reached the top, he's moving like someone who's still building, and hasn't even shown everything yet. That's why every next step feels important. Whether it's another major film, stepping deeper into directing, or taking on bigger production roles, people are watching closely to see just how far he's going to push it. And based on the patterns so far, it's not looking like he's about to slow down or start making careless moves anytime soon. Everything feels intentional, like each decision is part of a bigger plan that's still unfolding. At the same time, the conversations around his personal life don't hit the same anymore. That used to be a huge part of how people talked about him, but now it feels secondary at best. The focus has clearly shifted toward his work, his achievements, and how he's positioning himself in the industry. And that shift alone is a major power move people can't stop noticing. When the narrative shifts from who you're dating to what you're actually accomplishing, that's when everything really changes. That's when people stop looking at you as just a headline and start seeing you as someone building a legacy that's meant to last way beyond the moment. And once you reach that level, the entire game flips in a serious way. At that point, it's not about trying to prove people wrong every single moment. It's about maintaining that standard and protecting everything you've built. Because when you're moving with that kind of momentum, one careless move can throw the whole rhythm off. But he doesn't come across like someone moving reckless at all. You can tell he understands the long game and is playing it smart every step of the way. If you've been watching this whole journey unfold, you already see the shift happening in real time. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and drop your thoughts in the comments because this conversation is far from over.